Over the past few weeks, the entire nation, the entire world has been in mourning. Millions witnessed the brutal murder of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer while on camera, while three other officers stood by and did nothing. They stood by as he cried out, "I can't breathe." They stood by as he cried for his mother. Their actions led to his death. These officers had the duty to protect and to serve. Unfortunately, they did not extend this duty to Mr. Floyd. His death became a catalyst. All over the world, millions have joined in protests, demonstration, marches in support of Black Lives Matter. Unfortunately, this is not new for the Black community. Police brutality has been consistent in the Black community for years, and countless Black men and Black women has been killed by the police. This is not an indication that all police are bad. I'm aware that not all police are bad. I have family members, I have friends, and I have many police officers that I met that are not bad. But when you have a police department, you cannot have one bad cop. It is one of those jobs that no one can afford to be bad. A police officer cannot be racist. A police officer cannot see a Black skin as a weapon. He needs to protect and serve the entire community. So we're saying weed out the bad ones. Weed out the bad ones. There cannot be any bad police officers. Over the years, there's been so many names. Right now, it's George Floyd, and the nation, the whole world, is protesting against the brutality of his death. But police brutality and racism has claimed the lives of many Blacks. There has been Trayvon Martin, Tamar Rice, Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Tatiana Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, so many names. And there are countless other names that we don't even know about. The time for change is now. We cannot continue in a society that systematic racism, inequality, and injustice will continue to claim the lives of Black people. The past few weeks, we've seen a lot of uncomfortable conversation. Institution and organization are recognizing the need for change, and they're realizing that at the very top, there are some very bad people and there are some very bad policies. So everybody has to work together to dismantle this system, to dismantle this policy that put Black people at a disadvantage. But before we can start the work, we have to acknowledge that these systems exist. We have to acknowledge that racism exists. I know that racism exists. I'm a Black woman in America. I experience it every single day. Many friends have expressed concern about me going to the rallies. And the rallies that I attend are meant to be peaceful. They're in support of Black Lives Matter movement. And it is a movement. I have seen where it says it's a debate. But in order for it to be a debate, there has to be two opposing sides. One side says Black Lives Matter. The opposing side says Black lives do not matter, which is the very reason for the Black Lives Matter movement in the first place. So, this is why we go to rally. This is why we protest. This is why we march. This is why we have countless people working behind the scene to dismantle the system that is unequal. The system that Black people do not get equality. The system that Black lives do not matter. The time for change is now. Over the past few weeks, I have sat in on Zoom call with the president of a university. I've emailed the CEO of a billion-dollar corporation that emailed me back. People are ready to have this uncomfortable conversation. The time for change is now. We cannot continue to exist in a society that treats us like we're less than human. We cannot continue to exist in a society where little Black boys and little Black girls fear for their life and they think that they will not grow up. We cannot continue to live in a society where the Black skin is seen as a weapon. We cannot continue to live in a society where Blacks are treated poorly and unfairly simply because of the color of their skin. We're not asking to give us the advantage over another. We're simply saying to treat us equally. Like I said, the time for change is now. So for all the friends and the allies and the supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement, I thank you. Let's continue to work together to dismantle the system. Let's continue to work together to make changes. And for those that are concerned about going to the rallies, I hear you. I can understand your fear, because there has been many rallies where peaceful protesters were fired upon by the police, tear gas and rubber bullets. That has been hurt, and that is unfortunate. But my bigger fear than going to the rally is that nothing will change. Is that little black boys and little black girls cannot grow up in a society where they can just be kids. Is that my kids will grow up in a society that treated me this way. I don't want them to grow up in that society. I want them to be treated equally. I want them to be judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. So in order for this to happen, we need to make changes now. So we have to continue to go to the marches and to the rallies, and we have to support Black Lives Matter. Because Black lives do matter. I'm a Black woman. I do matter. My kids matter. My husband matter. My friends matter. All Black lives matter. As a Black woman, I don't have the luxury of ignorance. As a Black woman, I don't have the luxury of indifference. As a Black woman, I don't have the luxury of shutting off the TV and shutting off the negativity, because my Black skin will remain with me everywhere I go, and I will continue to be judged by the color of my skin versus being judged by the person that I am. I can tell you who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm a positive person. I believe in loving everybody. I believe in being kind and being helpful. But sometimes that's not enough. All someone will see is the color of my skin, and they never ask questions. That is what I am judged by. I want to live in a society where I'm not judged by the color of my skin. I know that these conversations are going to be uncomfortable. And I know that people fear that if they go to these rallies, they might get hurt. I can't convince you to go to those rallies. I know that people are in fear of repercussions if they speak up because they're Black at work, that they'll be fired or they'll lose their job. Again, I don't know what institution will do, but I'm calling on all CEOs, do better, because you can. The time for change is now. And I am loving all the conversations that are currently happening. But again, it is not new. We have been demanding change for years, but the time is now. So yes, there is real fear about going to these rallies. But like I said, the greater fear is that we continue where we are right now. This systematic racism that has been in place for hundreds of years, the injustice, the prejudice, the inequality that is prevalent in our society today, that is what I fear that it will continue. So I will continue to march, and I will continue to support Black Lives Matter, because like I said, my lives matter, my life matters. So for everyone that expressed concern about going to the rally, my question to you is this: weren't you marching? Weren't you supporting? Believe in equality. The same way I believe that you have a right to live, I hope that you believe that I have a right to live. Black Lives Matter.